Oh, yeah. Is it Thursday already? Okay. Kathleen Kennedy could be retiring this year. At least that is the report. And who is replacing her seems to be the talk of the town. And Kevin Feige, the CEO, president of the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, is top of the list for replacements of Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, you heard that correct. Kevin Feige might be coming to Star Wars. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Just when we thought that getting the Andor Season 2 trailer on Monday would not be the biggest news of the week, we were wrong. It's absolutely insane. So let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. I mean, Andor Season 2 trailer dropped on Monday, and you think that's what we'd be talking about all week long, but no. Kathleen Kennedy, it's now being reported, is retiring this year. And it's likely that Star Wars Celebration, which happens April 18th to April 20th, in just a couple months right before Andor Season 2 releases, that at Star Wars Celebration, that will be announced. Kathleen Kennedy is retiring, and they will probably walk out on stage her replacement. Now, who that might be? Will it be a Jon Favreau? Will it be a Dave Filoni? Will it be a Kevin Feige? Well, that's what we're going to speculate about today and talk about, and what the best option for replacing Kathleen Kennedy is. We also got to talk about that Andor Season 2 trailer because it's so freaking good. We got to talk about it more. So, without further ado, let's dive into this. But first things first, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Okay. Dom, what is up? Brandon Baker in the house. Tony, how we doing? Ron, what is up? Smilo Ren, how we doing? Skywalker Academy in the house. Aaron, what is up? Trent, how we doing? Justin in the house. Stars Edits, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? WUV Grad, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Justin, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Kip Fisto, how we doing? Rachel, what is up? Holly in the house. Dustin Kennedy, how we doing? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so here's the thing. Is Kathleen Kennedy retiring? Well, that's a big question. We've talked about this before. It's been rumored like every single year for the last decade that Kathleen Kennedy will be retiring. A lot of Star Wars fans, for one reason or another, really dislike this lady, and they want to see her be removed from the company. Now, that seemed more relevant and I guess happening about 5 years ago when the sequel trilogy had just sort of crashed and burned, and a lot of fans were calling for some change over at Lucasfilm. However, over the last what? Holly, what? Holly with the insanely generous $100 hauler to start off the stream. Are you insane? I appreciate it, Holly. That's insanely generous. And the only message that it says, and I'm pretty sure with like $100 super chat, you have like 1,000 characters to type. You said, "Thanks for all you do, Mike." That is insanely generous, and I appreciate it. There's no better way to start a stream than that. Literally no better way to start a stream than that. That's absolutely insane, and I appreciate that quite a bit, Holly. That's insanely generous. So I appreciate it. You just... Now I'm completely... I don't know what to do. What do I do? What do I do now, Holly? The stream can only go down from here. Like, we just hit a peak, and it only goes down from it. No, I'm just kidding. But now I've completely lost my train of thought, and I don't even know how to speak words, and this is absolutely insane. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. I think there's only one thing we can do from here on out, and that is put up a poll. So let's put up a poll, shall we? Shall we? Okay, let's do this. Who do you think should replace Kathleen Kennedy? I'm going to give you 4 options because it only gives me 4 options. And those 4 options are going to be Kevin Feige, if I can spell his name correctly, Kevin Feige, Jon Favreau, there we go, Dave Filoni, oh my God, I can't type today, chat. Dave Filoni, oh my God, or other, because I only get 4 options, and there is a bunch of other ones. So other is your third one. Those are the top 3, or fourth one. Those are the top 3 I do believe. So those are your options. Tell me in the chat. Holly, you blew my mind. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Let's first of all read the report that came out first, and that is from the Hollywood Reporter, and that's why this is real. Kathleen Kennedy is likely to be gone this year. Now, her contract, I believe, ended last year, and they extended it for another year just so that she could sort of usher in the next person, I believe. But I don't know. Somebody help me out in the chat. But let's read this article first and talk about who should replace Kathleen. And let's not forget, okay? Kathleen Kennedy has been the CEO for the last 13 years now. Wow, 13 years since George Lucas handed over the company to, sold the company for $4 billion to Disney back in 2012. And with that, George Lucas was the one who requested Kathleen Kennedy be the new leader. That was his choice, George Lucas's choice. So Kathleen Kennedy, of course, over the last 13 years, has gotten all of the shit for all the stuff that happens with Star Wars. She gets all the crap for how the sequel trilogy churned out. She gets all the crap for all the projects being canceled, which she deserves because she's in charge of all that. But she never gets the, I guess, credit where credit is due of bringing John and Dave together, bringing Tony Gilroy on for Rogue One and Andor, and doing all the good things. She never gets the credit for that stuff, but she does get the shit for all the shit that happens. But having said that, she has been in charge of the company for 13 years and was George Lucas's hand-picked choice to be the CEO or president of Lucasfilm. And now, who's going to be next? Well, let's take a look. Disney's Star Wars succession problem. Who will replace Kathleen Kennedy? You got the three Fs, if you will. Favreau, Filoni, Feige. Let's check it out. When Dave Filoni's acclaimed Star Wars The Clone Wars animated series launched back in 2008, the premiere episode's opening crawl proclaimed, the great leaders inspire greatness in others. But who should Disney choose to inspire greatness in the next generation of Star Wars creatives, now that the longtime Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy is retiring later this year? The job hunt will be like none other before in Lucasfilm history. Star Wars creator George Lucas handpicked Kathleen Kennedy in 2012 to run the company before selling his ownership stakes to Disney for $4 billion, which pretty much like Holly sending in a super chat, or Jordan for that matter, which elected to keep her in that place. Now, for the first time, Disney will pick somebody new to lead the galaxy far, far away. This is a big deal. A lot of fans still hold George Lucas's words at such a high esteem. So even some of the fans who didn't like Kathleen Kennedy for one reason or another would see her as the choice that George Lucas picked. So now that Disney is going to pick one for themselves, this is very, very important. You have all those Star Wars fans that are very, very George Lucas-centric because he's the guy who created this whole damn thing. So who they pick is going to be very, very important. And the reaction from the Star Wars fandom can go one way or another. Well, let's keep going. During her tenure, Kathleen Kennedy guided the Star Wars brand across many celebrated achievements, such as the franchise's return to theaters with The Force Awakens and its successful shift, successful being an understatement, to TV with The Mandalorian and all the other Disney Plus shows that came after. She's also often been criticized for the franchise's many missteps, including some lackluster movies and shows, and overseeing numerous announced and discarded projects. The executive, along with Disney in general, have often been targeted by franchises' fandoms for diverse casting moves and as perceived woke agendas, so they put it. A perception that Disney boss Bob Iger has been eager to move past, as most studios have as well. But while Kathleen Kennedy's pending retirement might be drawing cheers from the fans online, insiders say that replacing the seasoned executive will be rather difficult. We've talked about this before, but nobody wants this job. Nobody. Like we just talked about, she gets all the crap for everything that goes wrong, but never any of the praise for stuff that goes right. Who would want that job? Yeah, sure, it probably pays well, but who would want that? Just getting absolutely crapped on over and over and over again online. But could that be stopped? If somebody like a Dave Filoni were to take the reins of Lucasfilm and something went wrong or a project didn't hit as much as it should, would Dave Filoni get the slack for that? It's interesting. Let's keep reading. Some in the industry, from studio managers to representatives, believe that the company's senior leadership has done a poor job in training and elevating the next generation of Padawan executives from which to potentially tap a replacement. I actually very muchly disagree with this, especially if we're looking at Kevin Feige, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau as the next in lines. Well, then that's pretty good at, I guess, training the next in line, elevating the next generation of Padawan executives, as they put it here. But one reason that Kathy stuck around for so long is because there is no credible alternative. Not only does nobody want the job, nobody credible, as they're putting it here, wants the job. If they were to replace Kathleen Kennedy with a glub shitto, as Star Wars fans like to put it, just a no-name that nobody's ever heard of before, it would be a disaster. It would be an absolute disaster. Going from George Lucas, the creator of the whole damn thing, to his replacement, Kathleen Kennedy, that he handpicked himself, to a nobody, will be a disaster. That's why it almost has to be one of these big names, one of these Dave Filoni's, Jon Favreau's, Kevin Feige's, maybe even a Doug Chiang, because even him, he's been with Star Wars for decades. And I feel like a lot of fans sort of know the name. But if it's just a nobody, if it's just a somebody that nobody's ever heard of before, it's going to be bad news. And Star Wars fans are going to crap all over it. But let's keep going. There are no other credible alternatives, as they say. One person who has had many interactions with Lucasfilm leadership. Sources say that former Lucasfilm executive Rain Roberts, who was at the company for 12 years, was being groomed by Kathleen Kennedy as a likely replacement. But just last week, Roberts was announced as Searchlight's new senior VP production. Wow, I did not know that. Okay. So it seems like from this article, who they've been grooming for the last 12 years to be the replacement, by the way, a guy I've never heard of before, has left the company to go be the VP, senior VP of Searchlights. Interesting. Then there were the details of the job itself. Kathleen Kennedy was a movie producer who ended up not only overseeing new Star Wars films, but Indiana Jones movies and a wide range of live action and animated shows. I mean, you got the Willow stuff, you got Indiana Jones stuff, you got video games, comics, books, movies, shows, all of that. She's in charge of all of that. It's Lucasfilm, not just Star Wars, so it's a lot more, you know. But what people don't understand is that it's not a creative job, says one producer that has ties with Star Wars. That's about 10%. The rest is dealing with Disney, licensing, and fans. Exactly what I was talking about before. Like, if I look at the poll right now, yeah, that's not a surprise to me. Right now, in the lead on this poll is Dave Filoni with 37%. And that doesn't surprise me. So many people love Dave Filoni for the work that he's done on Star Wars. He was the Padawan to George Lucas when working on the Clone Wars. He makes Star Wars Rebels, which is one of the greatest shows of all time. He makes Ahsoka. He co-creates The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. He's doing his own movie now. He's working on the movie with Jon. He's now the C.E.O. He looks over all creative things. We really, although we seem to want him to have the job, he seems to be the best option for fans to sort of be happy with it. It's only 10% creative, as they say here. He won't be on the creative side anymore. And that's not what we want. We don't want Dave Filoni just doing all the business things and licensing things with Disney. Like, no, that's not what we want at all. We want him creating, directing, writing, doing all that stuff, making Ahsoka Season 2, making his movie, making more movies in the future. Now, there is the argument, well, that George Lucas did the same thing. George Lucas was the president of Lucasfilm, the CEO, if you will, and he directed the movies. I mean, to an extent, he did get directors for Empire and Return of the Jedi, but even still, he was looking over their shoulder the entire time. He was so hands-on with the creation of those movies, he had the time to do that. When you look at Star Wars now versus Star Wars then, George Lucas was working on one movie at a time. Right now, Star Wars has, 10 movies in production? probably 3-4 more shows, animated and live action. They got books, they got comics, they got video games, they got all this stuff. And Kathleen Kennedy, and if it was to become Dave Filoni, would have to work on that. All those different things. He wouldn't have time to do a show, to do a movie. He wouldn't have any time to do that. And that's why I don't think Dave Filoni is the best option here. But, and I say but, let's keep reading. So, it's only 10% creative, as they say, and the rest is dealing with Disney, licensing, and fans. With that said, there are some potential candidates to replace Kathleen Kennedy whose names have been floating in the past or have been mentioned by industry observers as having some of the chops as needed for one of the hottest and hardest jobs in Hollywood. So, Jon Favreau, of course, is in the poll right now. Jon Favreau is responsible for launching the Marvel Cinematic Universe back in 2008 with Iron Man. That was also with Kevin Feige. Successfully launching Star Wars into TV hyperdrive with 2019's The Mandalorian, and is directing the first Star Wars film since 2019 with the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which comes out next year in May. With Mando, Favreau demonstrated an understanding of the universe while also seeming to intuitively know that what casual fans want, and hardcore fans for that matter, while also served as an executive producer on several other Star Wars shows. But as noted, Kathleen Kennedy's job is less about the creative and more about being a manager. He won't want to be an executive, predicts one observer. So, again, Jon Favreau is sort of in the same situation as a Dave Filoni. Do we want him in that leadership role? Do we want him doing all this nonsensical stuff? Or do we want him creating the product? Do we want him creating the movies, directing the movies, writing the shows? It's a big ask. But honestly, I think Dave Filoni more so should still be on the creative side of things. And I wouldn't mind Jon Favreau going over to the business side of things. It's almost like the natural evolution of his career. He's gone through some crazy stuff. He went from just almost like a comedy actor to a writer and a director to making movies like Elf to kickstarting the MCU with Iron Man and then making like the Jungle Book and of course Mandalorian, Star Wars, all that stuff. It's almost like the gradual progression of his career went from actor to writer to director to producer to now CEO of Lucasfilm. Maybe. What do we think, chat? Jon Favreau? Sam Witwer for president? I don't know about that. Sam Witwer is a voice actor. That's it. I mean, he's an actor too, of course, but he's an actor. Like, I think a lot of the guys we're going to be talking about, guys and girls we're going to be talking about today, are sort of more fit for the role. Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sam Witwer knows his Star Wars, but it's not about knowing your Star Wars. It's about knowing the business side of things. Really, this position is not for somebody who needs to know Star Wars. I mean, yes, they need to know Star Wars, obviously, but there's a team of creatives that are always going to be working on the creative side of things. This is the person who's going to have to make the business decisions, the executive decisions. You know? Is it Freddie's birthday today? Freddie, it's your birthday. Can we get some happy birthdays to Freddie in the chat, please? Please, and thank you. How about this? Jon Favreau as CEO, Kevin and Dave as head writers. Maybe we'll flip some of that, Nathan. How about Kevin Feige as CEO and Jon and Dave as the advanced head writers? We'll get to Kevin Feige in a second, but I think Kevin is the best option here, and I don't think it's even close. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do this. What if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni did it together? Interesting. That's not a bad thing, like doing co-CEOs. That's what they're doing over at DC. And maybe, honestly, they're doing it with James Gunn and Peter Safran, right? That's his name. So they're doing it with James Gunn and Peter Safran over at DC. It's honestly not a bad move. Because like I said, if they just name the CEO as somebody that nobody's ever heard of, people will lose their minds. Star Wars fans will be like, what is going on here? But if they name somebody that we've never heard of before and Dave Filoni or and Jon Favreau or and Kevin Feige or and Doug Chiang or and whoever, then it wouldn't be as bad. Just like James Gunn being the CEO over at DC. He's not the only one. There's two of them. One handles the business side, one handles the creative side. It honestly might work. It might. It could. Absolutely. Mike, when's your birthday? May 30th. May 30th. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Let's keep going. So, again, he doesn't want to be an Whoa. Why do that? What the? Chat? Better. He doesn't want to be an executive. Again, that's just from one person's perspective. Okay, moving on. Next. Dave Filoni. Mentored by George Lucas himself. This is sort of the big pull for Dave Filoni. This is why so many fans want him to be the next in line, because he is the Padawan. He is the apprentice to George Lucas himself. And it would only make sense. It's like poetry, chat. It rhymes. Yeah. But Filoni is believed by the franchise's fandom, beloved, geez, like English, Mike, who sees the passionate writer-director as one of their own, who gradually managed to become a major player in the Star Wars dream factory. It is almost like that, because he was a massive Star Wars fan, building a Plo Koon costume in his garage, and then he gets a call from George Lucas, and he's like, hey, you want to work on Star Wars? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then, yeah, okay, moving on. Filoni has come a long way since launching the Clone Wars, while working closely with Jon Favreau and The Mandalorian, shepherding other animated shows, and showrunning his first ever live-action scripted series with 2023's Ahsoka. But Ahsoka had a mixed reception, which still blows my mind to this day, and Filoni is seen by some in the industry as being too far from a manager and or corporate boss type, which isn't an insult. Obviously not. He's a great resource of knowledge, but he ultimately is a TV guy, says one source. He'll be killed by all sides. And yet, one source tells The Hollywood Reporter that Filoni is already Disney's choice to succeed Kathleen Kennedy, and predicts that his ascendancy will be announced at Star Wars Celebration in this April. This has not been confirmed by other interviews, however. Okay, so one person is telling The Hollywood Reporter that they think that Filoni is already the next in line, and it will be announced at Star Wars Celebration. I think whoever it is, it will be announced at Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. I think whoever's going to be that option, it will be announced at Star Wars Celebration. But again, only time will tell. Going back to Filoni here. Yes, he's sort of a TV guy, as they put it. But when they're talking about ushering in the next person, he seems to be the one who's gotten that treatment. He goes from just being a creative on the Clone Wars to making his own animated show. So from one, he's already gone to the next. He makes his own show, which is Rebels. And then he wants to come over to the live action side. They team him up with Jon Favreau. And the two of them make some of the greatest stuff ever. And then he gets his chance to do his own show. And Ahsoka is, I think, personally, and tell me if you think otherwise, but it's my favorite Star Wars single season of any show that they've ever had. Single season. Like, you add together the seasons of Rebels, I think Rebels is better. You add together the seasons of Mando, I think Mando is better. You add together the seasons of Clone Wars, I think Clone Wars is better. But as a single season, Ahsoka is the best, in my personal opinion. But he gets his own show, writes and directs. He's directed episodes of live action stuff, and now he's getting his own movie. He's going to be an executive producer on Jon Favreau's movie first, and then he's going to get his own movie. So he's really worked up the ladder from co-creative on Clone Wars to getting his own animated show, to getting co-creative on live action, to getting his own live action show, to co-creating on a movie, to getting his own movie. So he's worked up that ladder all the way. Is not the next sort of natural step, much like I was talking about with Jon Favreau, the next natural step in his career to become the CEO of Lucasfilm? It's almost like he, for the last 20 years, has been taught for this, has been training for this his whole life. But hey, tell me what you think of the chat. of the two of them, now we'll get to who's next, but of the two of them, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, who would you guys rather? Let's just say it's down to two options, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Who would you guys rather be in charge? And no, it can't be a both. It can't be a 1-2 combo. One or the other. What do we think? Interesting. Huh. Okay. I see a lot more Favreaus than Filonis. But I do see a couple Filonis. Don't get me wrong. Interesting. So Star Wars Order says Dave Filoni because I want Favreau to keep making the content. I would say the reverse. I'd rather Jon Favreau be the leader because I'd rather Dave Filoni making the content. When you look at what Jon and Dave have done together, a lot of that is because of Dave, though. Like, a lot of that is because of Dave's knowledge with Star Wars. Now, you could say that, I guess, the roles could be reversed, but Dave Filoni, when you look at the content he's created from Star Wars, it's Tales of the Jedi peak. It's Ahsoka peak. It's Clone Wars peak. It's Rebels peak. Yes, he wasn't, those were all like his projects. The Mandalorian is peak, but that's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. You know? So I'd rather Jon take the leadership role and Dave keep doing the stuff. Rian Johnson, that would be, talk about shock the world. If they announced that Rian Johnson was going to be the CEO of Lucasfilm, I don't even know what the reaction would be. I feel like people would just not know what to do. They wouldn't. It would be quite funny, honestly, but yeah. Dave is good where he is. I agree with that. He's got the C.E.O. position. He's Chief Creative Officer, meaning he's in charge of all things creative at Lucasfilm. That's the perfect spot for him. I don't think he needs to move up. I don't think he needs to move down. Cut to when he gets the job as CEO, and I'm like, let's go! No. But I think he's in the perfect spot right now. Yeah. My concern would be if he gets the CEO job that he would stop creating. You know? Yeah. My pick is John Knoll. Is John Knoll even with the company anymore, though? That's sort of the thing. You know? Christopher Nolan, I don't think he wants that. Taika Waititi, oh my God. You guys are losing it now. You guys are losing it. Okay, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this article, okay? Next. Here we go. Favreau or Filoni plus. To quote the Jedi Master Yoda, when there's no perfect choice, two choices make. When the hell does he say that? I don't know. Okay, Yoda never actually said, oh, what? This bamboozled me. I was going to look at this for like, the good thing I read the next sentence. But it is solid advice. Okay, now we're just making up Yoda lines. One possibility for replacing Kathleen Kennedy is to pair Favreau and Filoni with a highly experienced studio managerial, easy for me to say, type, who doesn't necessarily know Coruscant from Corellia, such as 20th Century Studios head Steve Asbell or Lucasfilm president and GM, general manager? No. Gonk machine? No. I don't know. Linwin Brennan. Sure. We've talked about her before, but I really don't know what she's doing. This would be like the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is what we talked about. Director James Gunn being teamed with former lit manager and producer Peter Safran, this is what we were talking about before, to run DC Studios. So it's possible that they could be teamed up with somebody else, sort of a business guy or girl, possibly Linwin, on the other side of things as a co-CEO. One person makes the creative decisions and the other one handles the less glamorous corporate matters. Disney could also opt to pair Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni together and offload some of the position's more mundane duties to their other executives. So that's sort of the idea when it comes to doing both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. But let's kick it over to Kevin Feige, shall we? Okay. So if I haven't mentioned this already, Kevin Feige is my favorite option out of these. And there's a good reason as to why. Because I don't think the CEO role is nearly as important as people think. However, they don't really work on the creative side of things. And Kevin Feige has the experience. Let's keep going here. Kevin Feige. Many insiders believe the best candidate, the best for the job is Marvel Studios topper, Kevin Feige, who has shown an uncanny ability to balance corporate needs with an understanding of the core IP. He's a major Star Wars fan too. So he's actually stated before that he is more of a Star Wars fan than he is a Marvel fan. The guy who's been in charge of Marvel for the last 15 years is more of a Star Wars fan than he is a Marvel fan. Crazy. He's even stated that the producer is slated to produce a Star Wars movie until the project, like so many others under Kathleen's tenure, was scrapped. But in some ways, Feige's moment of opportunity has passed. The ideal time for Feige to seize the Star Wars Empire's throne was after the mic drop that was the two back-to-back blockbuster Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame. Back when Marvel was a zenith, Since then, Marvel has suffered, partly because Feige has been stretched thin by the overly ambiguous content demands of Disney+. Yeah, they went from making 2 movies, 3 movies a year to now 2 movies a year and 10 shows. Those reverberations, easy for me to say, are still being felt, as seen with a mixed reception of Captain America Brave New World. I actually liked Captain America Brave New World quite a bit, but that's just me. Feige is focused on recalibrating Marvel, which means relaunching the Fantastic Four this summer and focusing on the new Avengers movie, which will shoot this year. He's the one that makes sense, but he needs to focus on Marvel, says one Disney insider. So here's why I think Kevin Feige is the best option. Yes, I get it. After Endgame, Marvel has not really been the same. I understand that. You've had projects like a Secret Invasions, like a She-Hulk. Like you have misses, let's just say. And with the Infinity Saga from 2008 to 2019, you really didn't have any misses, okay? You had a bunch of bangers the entire way. Now, a lot of that can be said. You had the pandemic, you had the introduction of Disney Plus and having to do a million different projects every single year and all that stuff. He spread too thin, as they put it. But here's why I think he's still the best option for Star Wars. One, like I said before, he mentioned that he's a bigger Star Wars fan than he is a Marvel fan. That's a big deal. Obviously, we know that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are both big Star Wars fans as well. But he has the experience. Where Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni lack is ever running a company like this, ever being a president of a studio like this. Kevin Feige has done it for the last 15 years and at a very, 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 very successful rate. Actually, the most historic successful rate we've ever seen before. In that 11-year arc of the Infinity Saga, we've never seen anything like it. So if we could take that and bring it over to Star Wars, there is nothing bigger than his Hall H presentations at Comic-Con where he's announcing all these different projects. Imagine that for Star Wars. He has the experience of running a company like this, and giving him the reins to Star Wars, giving him the opportunity to work with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, because he's already worked with Jon Favreau so much. You already have that. You have the love from the Star Wars fandom, and you have the creatives staying where they're supposed to be. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni right where they need to be, in charge of the creative side of things. And then you just add on Kevin Feige. You win on all sides of things. You don't have to take Jon or Dave and move them up to a business side of things where they're not creating the content. You plug in Kevin Feige at the top, who's already friends with Jon and Dave, and you go from there. Kevin Feige has the experience. He has the results. He has the success already. And he can take that and bring it to Star Wars. To me, he's the best candidate, and it's not even close. But like I see on the poll, Dave Filoni's still in charge. Still in charge. Well, let's keep going. Okay, the next one on the list is a pretty interesting one. J.J. Abrams. I'm very interested to see what you guys think of this. J.J. Abrams directed a widely successful Star Wars relaunch of The Force Awakens, but also it's lambasted? Sure. Lambasted entry, The Rise of Skywalker. He clearly has an affinity for the brand, and with Bad Robot managed a small media empire. But he and Bad Robot have hit a rough and unproductive patch. And the filmmaker is now only getting ready to shoot the first movie since Skywalker. But that could be because of the blaster stun from his Star Wars experience, which proved harrowing. I don't see him coming back to that toxic cesspool, as they put it. It's definitely left a mark on him. So sort of the reaction to what happened with his... Oh, my God. What happened with his two Star Wars movies, The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, he's probably not going to want to come back. And I agree with this. I don't think JJ is a good option here. Yes, he ran Bad Robot, his production company, and he has this experience with that side of things, the business side of things. But I don't think it would be a very warm welcome from the Star Wars fandom. Not nearly as warm as a Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, or Kevin Feige. Yeah. I don't know. Anybody think that it's a good idea to have him in there? 50 Thunder, what's up? Yeah, I don't see JJ working. I don't. I really don't. Yeah. Star Wars Order says, no, you already said Kevin Feige is spread too thin with Marvel. I don't need him effing with Star Wars and his lack of planning causing his ass is busy. Oh, because his ass is busy. Well, that's why he would have Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Like, Dave Filoni's in charge of all creative projects. Kevin's role would be a lot less, and he wouldn't be spread as thin. Yeah. Yeah. Chat is pretty heated today. Well, it's a heated discussion, okay? It's a very important discussion, as it were. I mean, whoever takes over the reins of Star Wars, that's a huge deal. The difference is you announce somebody like a J.J. Abrams or a Rian Johnson, of course. It won't happen. But let's say you announce somebody like that fans have a bad reaction to, a really bad one. That's going to be the news for months. The new CEO of Lucasfilm is this, and it's bad. Then you could have it, the next Star Wars project is a flop. It's all his fault or her fault, whoever the bad person is. But if you have somebody good, you give us a Dave Filoni, you give us a Jon Favreau, you give us a Kevin Feige, somebody that fans know and love, then now the news is good for months. It's good when the first movie is a success, or even if it's a flop, they're giving him a chance because it's his first project, whatever it may be. You want the news to be good. So this is a very, very, very important discussion and a very important decision because Kathleen Kennedy is already hated by a good amount of Star Wars fans. So her retiring seems to be a more celebrated thing. But whoever comes after her, it's very important. Hayden Christensen? No. Hayden, again, is an actor. He doesn't have the experience to do something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Why is it cool to bag on JJ but not on KK? Well, it's not cool to bag on either of them, but they both get bagged on anyway. I don't really understand the question, I guess. Okay, moving on to the next one. Oh my God, we got two more. Okay. Two more. Emma Watson? Hermione? What? Oh, okay. Watts is a respected executive who's been the longtime president and of production at 20th Century Fox, who, amongst other projects, notched franchise experience by steering the widely ranged in quality X-Men movies, including launching Deadpool. James Cameron's Avatar was also made under her tenure. She had a brief stint as president of Paramount Motion Pictures Group, but has been sitting on the sidelines since the studio leadership changed in 2021. She's been waiting for a comeback. Honestly, don't know much about Emma Watts, but from this portfolio, sounds like a pretty good choice, actually. Longtime president of 20th Century Fox. Now, 20th Century Fox is owned by Disney, so that would sort of be an easy transfer over. She was in charge of when Deadpool and all the X-Men movies came out, as well as the Avatar movie from James Cameron. So honestly, she seems to be a very business side of things. She was a president of 20th Century Fox. She was a president of Paramount Plus. She has experience being presidents of studios. That's very, very important. So if you wanted to do that, because she seems to have a more business side of things, team her up with the creative, like they do at Disney's at DC Studios. Team her up with Dave Filoni, because now you have Dave still working on the products itself, and you have Emma in charge of all the business stuff. That seems like a good plan to me. If you're not going to get one person, because my one person would be Kevin Feige, bring over somebody like Emma who has experience with 2 different major studios as president already. She's already got the experience as a president, and have her be the business side of things. Then you have Hannah Minghella. Minghella? Sure. Hannah, speaking of Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' former employer, Hannah Minghella, is a name that surfaced as a possible contender on Tuesday. The exec has formidable experience across the live action and animation spheres, as well as family fare. She also had a long stint at Sony Pictures, where titles that she worked on ranged from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, nice, Hotel Transylvania to Jumanji and Goosebumps. Okay, she has been running Netflix's feature animation and live action family divisions since last summer, so would have to extract herself from a multi-year deal. Honestly, not knowing either of these respective executives, I guess, Hannah and Emma, I think Emma's probably the better option, having been a president of 2 major studios. Oh, what the hell? Having been a president of 2 major studios, and Hannah, although she is in charge of Netflix's feature animation and live action stuff, it just seems like Emma has more experience with being sort of the business side of things. And you could team her up with somebody. Yeah. Neither one of these 2 options here have any Star Wars experience. Actually, neither does Kevin Feige. JJ, Jon, and Favreau do, though. I'm sorry, and Filoni do. Yeah. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options from The Hollywood Reporter. Now, there are other options. So let's take a look over at some other options, shall we? So this Screen Rant article actually does a pretty good job. It does their top 5 choices for who should be in charge over at Lucasfilm. And honestly, it might surprise you a little bit who these top 5 are, because honestly, I didn't think of half of them. Okay. So let's take a look at this list. And actually, yeah, we'll leave that poll up. We'll leave the poll up for now. By the way, Dave Filoni is still sitting at the top with 34%. Jon Favreau's in second with 25%. Actually, no, he's tied for second with other at 25%. And Kevin Feige in last with 16%. You got, I don't know, chat. You didn't think of 2.5 of them? How's that possible? Oh, because I said half of them? Funny. More than half of them. Happy now? Okay. Who should replace Kathleen Kennedy as head of the Lucasfilm? Here are my top 5 choices. Let's take a look at this. So, Kathleen Kennedy, blah, 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 blah. All right, number 5, Dave Filoni. Probably one of the best choices on this list, and you guys have him at number 1 on the poll in the chat, but perhaps the most obvious person to replace Kathleen Kennedy as president of Lucasfilm is Dave Filoni. Filoni is essentially the protege of George Lucas himself, and they work together closely for almost every season of the Clone Wars. Filoni learned from Lucas. He had an incredible, vast knowledge of the Star Wars lore, and he essentially ran the franchise's on-screen efforts from 2005 to 2015, when Star Wars The Force Awakens was released. It's hard to imagine Star Wars being in better hands. Having Dave Filoni as president of Lucasfilm is the closest thing to getting George Lucas to return, which is virtually impossible. Yeah, George Lucas, by the way, chat, is not returning. If that was not made clear, is not returning. It seems like he's very happy in his retirement. However, let's not get this wrong here. You bring in his apprentice, you bring in Dave Filoni to become the new CEO, it might actually cause for some more George Lucas on set. George Lucas helping out. Just because Dave and George, of course, are so close together. So maybe, just maybe, if Dave Filoni is the choice, George Lucas could be sort of working on or a part of future content. Yeah. Yeah. Jordan White, what's up? Jordan says, John Watts as CEO of Lucasfilm? I don't know. John Watts is, again, a director, but so are these other guys, I guess. I don't know. He did Skeleton Crew, of course, but even still, I think these other two are better. Yeah. Mike couldn't do it. No, I definitely couldn't. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not even going to put my name in. I have zero experience with any of this. So no, I would be the worst choice, chat. The worst one. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? So yeah, George Lucas, virtually possible. There are, however, a few problems with promoting the... Oh, shit, we got a super chat. Hang on. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that, Darth Plagueis. I really, really do. Says, Dave is the best option in my opinion. Much love. Well, I appreciate that, Plagueis, but I have to respectfully disagree. I mean, yes, is Dave a great option? Yes, absolutely. He knows a lot about Star Wars. He worked under George Lucas, but my biggest gripe with the Dave selection is just the fact that he won't be creating other content. Like, maybe he will if he's paired up with somebody else. He's paired up with a more of a business side person like a Emma Watts, like we read in the last article, then maybe. But I need Dave Filoni still creating the content. Yeah, absolutely. But I appreciate the super chat. I really, really do. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. And wait, today's the last stream of the month, isn't it? Is today the last stream of the month, chat? I think it is. I think it is, chat. Interesting. Last stream of the month. Okay. Okay. You know what that means, chat? We got a giveaway today. So the giveaway will happen towards the end of the stream. And yes, we do have a great giveaway today. I knew we were talking about Kathleen Kennedy a lot today. I knew we were talking about all this sequel trilogy, which she so graciously brought us. So today's giveaway is another Art Sabers helmet, which we've been giving away for a few months now because Art Sabers is awesome. They generously gifted me that lightsaber right there. But this one is a sequel trilogy one. We gave away a Vader helmet. We gave away a Rex helmet. We gave away a Maul DeLorean helmet. And now, today's giveaway, oh, that's okay, is a Kylo Ren helmet. This thing is badass. However you like the sequels or not, Kylo Ren is in his helmet is so badass. So there you have it. That's today's giveaway. We'll be doing that later on in the stream. So if you are not yet a member, you get a instant chance to win this helmet if you are a member. But you have to be a member. Okay. So that's the giveaway later on today. We'll do that later. Okay. So where was I? Shit. Now they're so rudely interrupted by Darth Plagueis Lives with a very generous $5 holla. God damn. Let me get back to this article. Okay. Unless somebody else wants to interrupt me. God. Okay. There are, however, a few problems with promoting Dave Filoni to president. Filoni has always been a better track record with television shows than movies. The movie version of The Clone Wars is the lowest grossing Star Wars movie ever. Okay. This is a little, this isn't really fair. He's only ever done one movie, and yes, it was the Clone Wars movie, but he has the chance to do more stuff with his own movie later on down the line. But yeah. Which is not what the franchise needs. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie ushering in a new era with the theatrical release. Running a media company like Lucasfilm is also very difficult very different from producing some Star Wars shows. And it's not clear whether Filoni would be up to financially and business sides of the job. Filoni is a creative type, not an executive. And that transition may not be pleasant. Like I said before, he's not the business side of things. You want him creating the stuff, not being on the business side of things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Aside from his lack of experience with the business side of the film, Dave Filoni has also a few missteps in recent years. Since his appointment as chief creative officer of Lucasfilm, Filoni has had a problem with over-connecting the Star Wars galaxy. I don't know about that. One of the chief complaints of The Mandalorian Season 3 was which Filoni executively produced, was how little it advanced Din Djarin's story, with some even calling it Book of Bo-Katan. Nice. If Lucasfilm and Disney are to reconnect their divided fandom and show that the galaxy far, far away can still pleasantly surprise viewers, Filoni may not be the best choice. I completely disagree with this whole Mando Season 3 thing. I thought Mando Season 3 was a perfect end to the Clone Wars arc that's been going on for over a decade. Now, did it sort of sideline Din Djarin? Yeah, a little bit. He still gets his moments. He gets his hallway scene like Vader and Luke and Maul get, and Kenobi actually too. A lot of hallway scenes in recent years in Star Wars. But it is very Bo-Katan centric, so that is pretty funny. Okay, number 4. In another one that seems likely, Jon Favreau. After Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau is probably the next most obvious pick to helm Lucasfilm. Favreau joined Lucasfilm in 2019 when he created and began executive producing on The Mandalorian. Favreau's work on The Mandalorian was exactly what Star Wars needed, exactly when it needed it. A breath of new life into the franchise during and after the divisive sequel trilogy. And it proved that he could lead the franchise in the future. If anyone can reinvigorate Star Wars and usher in a new era the same way The Mandalorian did, it's Jon Favreau. Honestly, you could really sell me on Jon Favreau. I like the idea of Jon being in charge of Lucasfilm. I really do. It seems like a good next step for his career, and it seems like a good sort of guy who can be in charge, both business and creatively. And it would allow Dave Filoni to stay on the creative side of things too. But then, of course, you got to bring up the Book of Boba Fett. Unfortunately, Jon Favreau also faced some problems, just like Dave Filoni did in recent years. Jon Favreau's stint with Star Wars has had some notable low points, such as the Book of Boba Fett, and he struggled to expand the Mando universe to the larger galaxy of characters. It's not a great weakness for a president of Lucasfilm to have, especially as future Star Wars projects continue to reference older characters and stories. So yeah, he produced on all these shows. But with that being said, you got to look at the future of Star Wars content as well when you're trying to pick this person. When you look at what's coming, the Mandoverse, of course, is going to be the main focus for the next couple of years with the Mandalorian Grogu movie, another Mando movie helmed by Dave Filoni, and likely another one after that to hopefully finish off a trilogy. You're also going to have some projects inside sort of the Skywalker saga, one place or another, Andor Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, etc. But you're going to have to branch off, eventually going to the post-sequel world with the Rey movie and hopefully a trilogy past that, but even to the Old Republic, to the Dawn of the Jedi. And that's going to be a huge shift. So whoever's going to be the next CEO is going to have to come out on stage and be like, we're now going to introduce or reintroduce this whole new time period called the Old Republic. And fans are going to love that one way or another, but who's in charge of that is going to be very, very important. Because you're going to look back on what Kathleen Kennedy did in her tenure as Lucasfilm president, and you're going to see the sequel trilogy. That's going to probably be the biggest thing. But you're going to also have what she filled in the gaps between the prequels and the originals. The Bad Batch, Rebels, Andor, Kenobi, Solo, Rogue One. Then you're going to have between the originals and sequels, the Mandoverse, all those Mando projects, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, etc. Whoever comes next is going to be the one who sort of paves the way for what's outside the Skywalker saga. The Old Republic, the Dawn of the Jedi, the post-sequel world. That's going to be paved by whoever comes next. So it could be, I guess, anybody, but they need to have the ability to do so. There's a looming possibility that Jon Favreau, he may not want the Lucasfilm president job. Like I mentioned before, nobody does. Hey, don't look at number 3 yet. Don't look at number 3. Favreau has been creating shows, movies, and art for decades now. He has proven several times that he loves what he does. Trading in his writer's cap and director's chair for boardrooms and budget meetings is not appealing to Jon Favreau, and even if he is offered the job of Lucasfilm president, he may not take it. That's a big issue. And that might be the same issue with Jon Favreau. I know. We'll get to it in a second. Honestly, this is Dave Filoni was number 5. Jon Favreau was number 4. 3, 2, and 1 on this list are not who I thought. 3, 2, and 1 are nowhere close to who I would have predicted would have been anywhere close to this list. So let's get to it. Okay? Let's get to it. Number 3. Ben Stiller.
This is where the fun begins.
What? Ben Stiller? I mean, we got to read it. We got to read it, right? After decades of working as a comedian, Ben Stiller doesn't sound like an obvious candidate. Duh. For Lucasfilm's vacant presidency, but he may be a dark horse. Stiller is known for comedy movies such as Meet the Parents trilogy, the Zoolander duology. Duology? That's not a word. The 2 Zoolander movies. But in recent years, he has branched out in a truly remarkable way. Stiller has made some remarkable projects as a director, including The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Escape from what? Okay. And the 9 episodes of Severance. Severance I've not watched yet, but I've heard is one of the best shows on television. I know. I got to watch it. I get it. I get it, chat. I'm watching Better Call Saul right now. Okay. Along with several other producing credits. So recently, in recent years, he has really gone away from being in front of the camera and has become a producer. Yeah. But with those projects, he has proven himself as a competent behind the cameras, as competent behind the cameras as he is in front of them. Ben Stiller directing and producing career speaks for themselves, but his history as a comedian should also help Star Wars maintain a kid-friendly approach. Interesting. Something that Skeleton Crew nailed. That's true. Skeleton Crew is spectacular. Stiller isn't just skilled at making good movies and shows. However, he also he's also adept at making them popular. Stiller's name alone is a signal that a project is going to be good. And he also knows the ins and outs of marketing. Taking, for example, the Defiant Jazz playlist on Apple Music that accompanies Severance. Again, I don't know anything about Severance, so I don't know what they're talking about here. But Stiller knows how to make a new fan and how to keep old ones happy, something that Star Wars has always needed. This is an interesting pitch. Stiller is also, sadly, not particularly liked. Really? I'm surprised by that. After decades in show business, Stiller probably prefers to take an independent project and his passion that he's passionate about rather than being tied to a franchise indefinitely. Okay, well, there you go. Additionally, he's likely already has some sort of deal with Apple through Severance, which may preclude him, from being employed by Disney Plus's own Lucasfilm, or Disney's own Lucasfilm. Stiller is a long shot for Lucasfilm president role, but by some miracle he was chosen, it certainly wouldn't be a mistake. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it seriously, Chad, because this is a serious list. Ben Stiller, yes or no? Thoughts, opinions? It's a weird choice. It's absolutely a weird choice. I would have never thought to bring up a guy like Ben Stiller when talking about the CEO of Lucasfilm. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense at all. You know? Carry on. What's up? You know? I prefer Jon Favreau, but Dave Filoni's great because he also is the guy who gave us helicopter lightsabers and killed off Darth Maul in kid cartoons. I guess. Yeah. Obviously not popular enough if you haven't watched Severance yet. Oh, I haven't watched a lot of good shows yet, so that's on me. Yeah. Now, Severance is insane. That's what I've heard. It was the best show of the year like 2 years ago, and now season 2 is, again, doing the same thing. Yeah. I'd prefer not because I don't know if he knows Star Wars. That's a big deal, too. You got to know Star Wars, for sure. No way for Ben. Okay. How about selling Disney, or how about Disney sells Star Wars and lets whoever buy it figure out the CEO situation? Disney's never going to sell Star Wars. When you think about it, when you think about what Disney owns a lot of things. Let's be real. When you look at Disney Plus, what are the biggest things on Disney Plus? Let's do this. When you go to Disney Plus, this is the homepage. Oops. This is the homepage. You got Disney, which is like the princess movies and all the animated stuff, whatever. Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic. You can go to Hulu or ESPN. Of these studios, your two biggest, or three biggest, I guess, your four biggest, let's say, are the four on the left. Of those four on the left, it's pretty easy to just narrow them down. And Star Wars is your biggest. And I don't think it's even close. Like the MCU, sure, it had its 11-year run and it was great. But it's not even close. Not even in the same realm as Star Wars. So Disney, in order to want to sell Star Wars, it would have to be quite the offer. Like you're talking, they bought it for $4 billion. You're talking at least $50 billion, $100 billion, at the least, the very least. It's their biggest franchise. They're never going to sell it. Yeah. Robert says, hey, just tuned in to hear that Screen Rant basically threw Ben Stiller into the mix out of nowhere, essentially. Kinda. That blurb doesn't seem to ground in any reality or fact as to why Stiller should be there. Odd. It is a little weird, but the pitch is kind of... he shouldn't be the CEO. He shouldn't be the president of the whole damn studio, but to have him come over to Lucasfilm wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Just as a creative side of things. All right, but let's get to number two, sorry. Let's get to number 2, because honestly, never even heard of her. Megan Ellison. Ellison? Sure. Known for her and Zero Dark 30. Never even heard of her. If Lucasfilm decides to fill Kathleen Kennedy's role with an outside hire, the company couldn't go wrong with a Megan Ellison. Sure. Though she's only 39 years old, wow, she's already made a tremendous name for herself in the movie industry. Ellison produced widely acclaimed in films such as Spike Jones, Her, Zero Dark 30, and the Coen brothers' True Grit remake, which has earned her 4 separate Best Picture nominations. Wow. 4 Best Picture nominations already at the age of 39. That's insane. That also means that she has experience with a Western, action, drama, romance, and comedy genres, all of which are blended together to make a good Star Wars movie or show. Megan Ellison does, of course, have some weaknesses as a producer, but they seem mostly avoidable. For instance, Ellison has never worked on any Star Wars project before, which would take her some getting used to. While she will have lore advisors at the ready in form of Dave Filoni, Pablo Hidalgo, and others, there are still quite a learning curve when it comes to Star Wars and making a good story in the galaxy far, far away. Okay, so this does not seem like a good option for me. She has limitations for reasons why she could thrive at Lucasfilm. However, she may not know Star Wars, but she does know the business side of things. Okay. And she knows how to tell a good story. Interesting. That means she can solve the franchise's biggest issues in recent years, making a good movie that also happens to be a part of the Star Wars universe. I don't know, chat. This seems like a bad one to me. A crap article. Okay. We haven't even gotten to number 1 yet. Chat. It'll blow your mind. So, Megan Ellison, yes or no, chat? Screen Rant is on drugs these days. That is crazy. Yeah. No, 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 no. Okay. I agree with you. I don't even know who the hell this is. So we're going to go with a no. And let's get to number one. Okay. Let's get to number one, shall we? Any guesses on what number one on this list is? I don't think if you even guessed a million different people, you could guess it. Any guesses, chat? Number one on the Screen Rant list for who they think should be the replacement for Kathleen Kennedy of president of Lucasfilm. Any guesses, chat? Pablo, no. You, Mike, that would be crazy. If I was number one on this list for Screen Rant, it would be hilarious. Bryce Dallas Howard, no. No. Jar Jar, no. Mark Hamill, no. Elon, no. Babu Frick, no. Scroll, damn it. I like the suspense. Palpatine, no. Sean Levy, no. Palpatine twice. Aren't you just dying to know, chat? Let me take a really long, exaggerated sip of my water. Check out this Mandalorian mug, chat. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bumpa. Check out this Rise of Skywalker cup, chat. Do 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 do. I got to do that today. Make a sandwich later. Oh yeah, we got to do that too. Yeah, we should probably do that too. Oh, you guys want to see number one? Is that what you're saying? Oh, you want to see number one on the list? Yeah. Yeah. Is that what you're waiting for, chat? Oh no, no, you don't want me to? Congrats on making 108,000 subscribers. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. Number one on the list is Frank Marshall. Yeah. None of you guessed it. I wouldn't have either. Frank Marshall. Talk about a letdown. The least likely, but possibly the best suited. That's how they phrase this. Least likely, possibly best suited candidate for the Lucasfilm, head of Lucasfilm, is Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy's husband. Yeah, okay, we're not even going to read that. Screen Rant is on some crazy stuff nowadays. Yeah, that's, no. No thanks. Okay, however, I do have another article that I wanted to read about this as well, because it's insane. But yeah, that Screen Rant list really blew my mind. I know, right? It's crazy. But let's keep going, shall we?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Okay. Now that we got through that list, it's so crazy. Their top five were Dave Filoni at number 5, Jon Favreau at number 4. I don't even remember what number 3 was. Oh, Ben Stiller at number 3. Megan, whoever at number 2, and Kathleen Kennedy's husband at number 1. Craziness. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine sitting there and writing that article thinking that it's a good idea. Funny. Okay. Where were we? Okay. Let's we're losing our minds today, chat. This is insane. Okay. Who will run Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy leaves? One of Hollywood's hottest and hardest jobs has just opened up. Let's take a look at this. Who wants to call the shots at Star Wars? Let's zoom in a little bit on this one. That's better. No, really, because it's kind of a thankless job. Like we talked about before, who the hell would want this job? You don't get the thanks for any of the good stuff you do, and you get all the crap for all the bad that happens. Of course, the intergalactic franchise is sacrosanct. Yep, English, Mike. As a cultural institution. So the president of Lucasfilm, home to Star Wars and Indiana Jones, has one of the most prestigious posts in Hollywood. Easy for me to say. So let's not forget that Indiana Jones is thrown in the mix here. And Willow, I guess. But Indiana Jones is thrown in the mix as well here. Because they just made an Indiana Jones 5, which bombed in the box office. Absolutely bombed. And the problem with that is Indiana Jones's franchise will continue with whoever comes in next. Not that they'll make an Indiana Jones 6, I hope not, but they'll make some Indiana Jones video games. Maybe they'll make a new Indiana Jones spin-off or something like that. So it's not to take Indiana Jones out of the equation because it's president of Lucasfilm, not president of just Star Wars. That also kind of makes me think that it won't be Dave Filoni because he's a Star Wars guy first and not really a Indiana Jones guy too. But having said that, but there's also the reality that they are being trolled on social media. Parodies of South Park. There was a whole episode of South Park crapping on Kathleen Kennedy personally and criticizing as too woke, too corporate, too slavishly, oh my God, devoted to George Lucas's vision, or too willing to depart from Jedi canon. Or too unwilling, I guess. And whoever gets the gig will be taking over at a low point in one of the cinema's biggest and most beloved franchises. Powers that be at Lucasfilm-owned at the Lucasfilm-owned empire haven't managed to get a film off the ground in 6 years, an eternity in today's hyperactive culture. Honestly, this was a good break that Star Wars needed from the movie theater. The sequel trilogy was the last thing that we saw in the movie theater, and that was sort of left a bad taste in people's mouths. Now you could say, well, let's make a great movie after that to sort of get people away from that. But you also got to give it breathing room. And to wait 7 years to make the next Star Wars movie, if it's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which it is, and it's really, really good, which I hope it is, then we'll be in a good spot. And what's really interesting to me is if this Kathleen Kennedy retiring this year happens and whoever comes in is in charge next year, then the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be the first Star Wars movie to be released under the new leadership. So it's almost as if Kathleen Kennedy is generously offering, hopefully, a guaranteed success on a silver platter with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That's the hope. That's the hope. And honestly, it could be Andor Season 2 is a guaranteed success as well. Because if this person's taking over at Star Wars Celebration, if this person, whoever it is, walks out on stage at Star Wars Celebration and goes, I'm the new captain. I'm the captain now. And is the new leader of Lucasfilm, well then Andor Season 2 will be his first project, his or her first project. Yeah. And the movies that have appeared in the last decade plus since Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4 billion have been an exercise of diminishing returns. The first movie being The Force Awakens, making the most money off of all of them, both financially and critically. Meanwhile, Disney Plus spin-off television shows such as The Acolyte have been unceremoniously canceled after 1 season. which still to this day hurts my soul. And yet, within hours of reporting that Kathleen Kennedy will step down as president of Lucasfilm at the end of 2025, executives, creative talents, and mega producers were scrambling to get on the radars of Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, for Disney's Entertainment co-chairman, and Disney Entertainment's co-chairman, Alan Bergman. There are only so many of these jobs to be had after all, and cracking the code on Star Wars could mean wielding a Kevin Feige-like influence in entertainment. Again, it would be insane to see Kevin Feige do that when they're literally talking about this type of influence on entertainment as a Kevin Feige type of influence. Oh my God, super chat. Jordan Rennie with a very generous $50 holla. Holy crap. Says, just my opinion, but have interviews and appoint the best person for the job. By the way, hello there, everyone. Obviously, they have to have some sort of process, whether it be an interviewer process or there has to be something like that. Maybe it's not like a sit down and interview everybody type deal, but there's a process of elimination just based off of purely, their background, so to speak. But Jordan, I appreciate the interruption, but I appreciate it. Very, very generous. $50 holla. That's insane. From Holly and Jordan, we might be millionaires by now, but we aren't. So I appreciate it. Super Chats membership, keep the lights on over here, and we got a giveaway coming up later on in the stream. So if you're not yet a member, there's a link in the description below to become a member of the People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. Okay. Where was I? I just lost my spot completely. What the hell? Oh, this is not the article I was even reading. That's why. So, they're talking about a Kevin Feige-like influence on entertainment. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that Kevin Feige, for the last decade, has had control over the entertainment business. Everybody and their moms has been trying to get into a Marvel movie because the Marvel movies are the ones that make billions of dollars. Some people say it's ruined cinema. It's made it so that they don't make those types of movies anymore, the rom-coms, the comedies, all these other things. But you can't deny that everybody wanted to be in a Marvel movie. The Marvel movies, whenever they came out, were a guaranteed billion-dollar movie, and they were going to be a success. So they're talking about Kevin Feige wielding the influence of the entertainment industry. Well, what if Kevin Feige was the successor and got to do the exact same thing with Star Wars? However, but the successful applicant must offer a very particular set of skills. Foremost amongst them are the deep relationships with artists and auteurs. Sure. That's critical because under Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars had cycled through a wide range of A-list filmmakers, from Phil Lord to Christopher Miller, who were fired from Solo mid-production, to Patty Jenkins, David Benioff, D.B. Wise, Dave and Dan, whose movies were announced and then abandoned due to creative differences. That's not to mention James Mangold, Taika Waititi, Donald Glover, Rian Johnson, whose space opera-centric spin-offs have yet to materialize. Kathleen Kennedy has never had trouble attracting top directors, of course, because that's Star Wars and those people want to come, but keeping them employed and have been an ongoing challenge. Now, there's a lot to go into all that. You got the pandy, you got all these other things going on. But yes, that has been an issue. Even filmmakers whose movies actually debuted on the big screen, such as Gareth Edwards' Rogue One, saw a final product either reshot or dramatically refashioned in the editing process. The one person tapped to direct a new Star Wars movie will want assurances that they won't quickly join the ranks of the hired and fired clubs. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. You don't want your movie to just be brought on and then taken away, you know? Whoever gets the Lucasfilm gig will have to offer an expansive vision for where we're going to take the 48-year-old franchise, one that involves streaming as well as more consistent output of movies. There's been an unintentional 7-year gap between 2019's Rise of Skywalker, the last film, and the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie, a continuation of the Disney Plus show that Lucasfilm plans to unveil theatrically in 2026. So obviously there's going to be a whole lot of pressure on whoever takes the job. Whoever wants this job, there's an insane amount of pressure for the future of Star Wars content, both on Disney Plus and in the movies. However, I can't emphasize this enough. Whoever's getting the reins to this company this year is being put in a great spot. It might not look like it because we haven't had a movie in 6 years, but you look at the set list of movies coming. Jon Favreau's Mandalorian and Grogu, Dave Filoni's Mando movie, the James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, now the George Dolphy's Sharmina Bed-Chinoy's Rey movie. You got a Simon Kinberg trilogy, Sean Levy movie. You have a ton of movies in production. Whether all those pan out, that's another thing. But you have a ton of movies in production. You got Andor Season 2. You got Ahsoka Season 2. Guaranteed successes. Hopefully a new animated show in the works. So whoever's coming on board is actually coming on board at a great time where they have so much success on the way. And Kathleen Kennedy's sort of backing out of that. She could retire next year after the height of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie being this hopefully massive success, but she's not. She's stepping down now to hopefully set up the next person for some guaranteed successes right off the bat. Yeah. Even Disney's own MCU, which is most financially successful franchise in history, has struggled in recent years to maintain the same level of quality as it has moved beyond movies and into streaming. Yes and no. Even Marvel movies now are making $1.2, $1.3 billion like Deadpool and Wolverine just did last year. It's easy for even the most exciting properties to become oversaturated and grow stale. I think Star Wars has done a very good job of not doing this over the last couple of years, especially with the addition of Disney Plus. You have Star Wars projects, 2 or 3 coming out a year, but it doesn't feel like too much. Now, maybe that's because we're not getting movies either. But when you look at Marvel, it looks like they're way too much. Way too many shows, way too many movies, all that stuff. With Star Wars, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like we're getting too much to keep up with. Nowhere close to that. Now, with the reintroduction of movies, with The Mandalorian and Grogu next year, then maybe it becomes too much. Maybe you're going to have to step back on the production of Disney Plus shows, but we'll see. Mike, when are you getting the live sign back on? Well, again, super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. Clearly, we're having issues. Now, it will come in the next couple weeks. I believe it said like March 4th to March 13th. It was a very broad strokes thing there. Yeah, but hopefully sometime in the next couple weeks. Yeah. Star Wars, one of the original great legacy stories with as much potential as any of the great action and sci-fi stories, says David A. Gross. That's an unfortunate last name. Who runs the movie consulting firm Franchise Entertainment Research. Has it been overdeveloped, underdeveloped? At this point, it's sprawling and impossible to quantify. Mandalorian and Grogu will be the first new theatrical release in a lifetime. Let's see how it lands. So a lot is riding on that release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Oh my God, Jordan again? Holy shit. Jordan Rennie with a very generous $50 holla. Holy crap. Says, can we do a poll ranking Kathleen Kennedy's tenure? They have been good projects and some not so great, but interesting to see what the people who love Star Wars think. We could definitely do that just for you, Jordan, because you sent that insanely generous super chat. Okay. Let's do that. By the way, I just entered this poll, and wow, this is insanely close. With over 100 votes on this poll, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are tied with 28%, and Kevin Feige and other are tied at 21%. That's insane. That's so wild. Okay. That's so crazy. Okay. That's way closer than I thought it was going to be. But let's put this up in a poll. Actually, how do we poll this? I only get 4 options. What do you think of, or what do you rate Kathleen Kennedy's time with Lucasfilm, or time as CEO of Lucasfilm. And what are our 4 options here? What do you rank her time as CEO Lucasfilm, or rate her time as CEO Lucasfilm? 10 out of 10. Or actually, let's go incredible. Incredible. Good. Third option will be okay. The fourth option will be bad. Okay, those are your 4 options. Okay. Great, good, mid, poor. Okay, well, they're incredible, good, okay, and bad. Let's see it. Let's see it, Chad. And when you're voting on this poll, you got to think about it this way. She's been president of Lucasfilm for 13 years. Over the course of those 13 years, we've gotten projects like The Mandalorian, like The Clone Wars Season 7, 4 seasons of Rebels, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Tales of the Jedi, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. We've gotten introduced to brand new characters like Din Djarin, Grogu, Cal Kestis, Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Grand Admiral Thrawn, of course, the Legends character, but still. All these great, great projects. Yes, you have some that people don't like as much, like maybe The Acolyte, which I personally like, but that's all on me. The sequel trilogy. But let's not forget about the good, too, here. You know? Yeah. Okay. But I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. Let's keep that poll up there for a little bit, and let's get back to the article since I was so rudely interrupted. All right, let's go back to this. Seeing how the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will land in the theaters. So, the perfect candidate must offer more than a passive interest in all the things Skywalker. Like Marvel's boss, Kevin Feige, they must be deeply versed with the mythology and George Lucas established in 1977's original Star Wars, A New Hope. And then expand over the course of the sequels, graphic novels, video games, theme park attractions, even the ill-fated holiday special, because those movies and shows are costly to produce and the important thing to Disney's bottom line. It wouldn't hurt if they had some sort of business background along with a certain artistic spark. Honestly, this description is perfect, and I mean perfect, for Kevin Feige. What Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni lack in this description is that business background. Jon and Dave have been creatives their whole careers, pretty much. Kevin Feige has done this before. For the last 15 years, has been more than 15 years now, has been in charge of the MCU at this same level. It seems like a no-brainer. But it's really hard to find people who have love and knowledge for Star Wars that can run a big company. This is someone who needs to know how long a lightsaber is and how you charge it. Says Stephen Galloway, Dean of Chapman University's Film School. How many executives know the answer to those questions? Well, I'm sure Kevin Feige does. Like, Kevin Feige is a Star Wars nerd while also being a guy who's already successfully done something with another company. You know? Already, people around the entertainment business are offering up their predictions for who might get drafted to the galaxy far, far away, including the Mandalorian and Grogu movies director, Jon Favreau. He has had experience helming blockbusters such as Iron Man. Kind of kickstarted the MCU for them over there. Lucasfilm Chief Creative Officer and Executive Producer of the Book of Boba Fett and Skeleton Crew and others. He could be on, Dave Filoni, that is. Others could be on the wish lists are Harry Potter producer David Heyman and Legendary Entertainment's Mary Parent, who oversees the Dune and Godzilla franchises. Interesting. These are two names we have not talked about today. That is interesting. One top agent suggests Peter Rice, who was fired by the former CEO Bob Chapek in 2020 in a widely panned move as a possible fit. And as an executive, he helped develop X-Men and has a relationship with the top actors and writers and directors, says agents. His overall taste would re-energize people. Plus, he's got good relationships at Disney. Interesting. Again, we haven't brought up Peter Rice yet either. There's so many options here, but it seems to me that the three that we always come back to are, in fact, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Kevin Feige. Like, of these other people, yeah, they'd be good, I guess, some on the business side of things, some on the more creative side of things. They don't have the experience with Star Wars that Jon and Dave have. They don't have the experience with running a company like Kevin Feige does. So it seems like it always comes back to these three people. And those three people, too, if you announce them, yeah, you'll have some people who hate Dave Filoni for some reason. Some people who hate Kevin Feige, hate Jon Favreau for one reason or another. But you're always going to have that. I believe that the majority of the Star Wars fandom are going to love those three choices. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Jon Favreau, Mike, no one else. Okay. And honestly, it would work well, too, if you got a combo of two co-CEOs, two co-presidents with a Jon Favreau and like an Emma Watts, like we talked about earlier. Somebody who has experience on the business side of things and then a creative side of things. Yeah. So that sort of that's the 10 articles that we only read 3, but it felt like 10. Those are the 3 articles about this whole chaos. Kevin Feige seems to be one of the top choices, but to me, he's the best choice. Do I think he will be the choice? Probably not, but he's the best choice. Dave Filoni seems like he will be the choice. To me right now, he's been groomed to be that guy from the start, being the Padawan to George Lucas. I feel like the fans would love it the most if it was Dave Filoni. I don't know. But with that being said, after all these articles being read, after all this information being thrown your way, who do you guys think is the best option? Is it Kevin Feige? Is it Jon Favreau? Is it Dave Filoni? Is it somebody else? Is it a J.J. Abrams? Is it a Rian Johnson? Is it an Emma Watts? Is it a Kathleen Kennedy's husband? What? Is it Ben Stiller, chat? Is it Ben Stiller? Who do we think it is? Tell me in the chat. The fans have already turned on Dave Filoni? I must have missed that. Dustin says, I prefer Tony Gilroy, but I doubt that there's any mutual interest. I prefer Filoni over Favreau, but I'd be happy with either. Yeah, Tony Gilroy seems like a no. As much as I'd love Tony Gilroy because he's such a genius, I would not think he would take that job. He's not really a Star Wars guy as much as he, works on Star Wars. Yeah. Peter Rice, okay, interesting. Doug Chiang. We didn't talk about Doug Chiang. Actually, none of them talked about Doug Chiang, but Doug Chiang is a good option as well. His experience with Star Wars is one that can't be denied, and he has sort of a producer's role already, an executive role, and sort of sees the business side of things as well. Who is second in command there now? It might be Doug Chiang. Let's see. Who is at Lucasfilm? Is it this? It might be this Linwin girl. Oh, Carrie Beck was never brought up either. So here's your Lucasfilm leadership. This is on Lucasfilm's website, lucasfilm.com. You got Kathleen Kennedy as the president. President and general manager of Lucasfilm Business is Linwin Brennan. So she's the general manager of Lucasfilm's business side of things. So it's possible that they could bring her on as the business side, promote Dave Filoni to president with her, and they could be co-presidents, the two of them sitting right here, Dave and her side by side, co-presidents of Lucasfilm, one the business side, one the creative side. Because right now he sits at executive vice president. Oh, wow. Executive vice president slash chief creative officer. Is the executive vice president always been there? I don't know. Carrie Beck is the executive vice president and live action development and production. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. I don't know who that is. But Doug Chang is the senior vice president and executive design director. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. Don't know who that is. That is. No idea. So if I were to guess, my guess is this guy right here. If I were to put money on this, if I were a betting man, it would be this. However, it would make sense for him to be a co-president along with Linwin because she has the business side of things and he would be the creative side of things. But that's just me. Tell me what you think in the chat. Tell me what you think. Yord? What? I want whoever can get Dennis as a director of a Star Wars trilogy. I don't know if Dennis wants to work on Star Wars, honestly. He's more of a Dune guy anyway. Star Wars fans blame Kathleen Kennedy when something is bad, but never praise her when something is good. I completely agree with that, Mark, 100%. I think Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni should continue to be directing and writing because the presidents don't do that. They're not involved with the story. True, but if it was a co-creative thing, like look at DC, like we talked about before. James Gunn is currently directing the Superman movie. He's the CEO. He's the president over there. He's just a co-president with the business side of things. Peter Safran. Yeah. Dustin says Dune is better than any Disney Star Wars movie to date. Rogue One. Rogue One. Rogue One. Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Oh my God. Jordan with another insane super chat. Holy crap. $25 holla. I appreciate that, Jordan. Says the people who love Star Wars for co-presidents. Oh, yeah. Only like the 100 of us that we have as 90, 80, whatever it is, members that we have on the channel as all presidents. Yeah, that's a genius idea. Let's get on that. That's actually the perfect segue, though, to do the giveaway. Let's do our giveaway here, chat. So if you are not yet a member, this is your final chance to become one and steal the nice giveaway away from all our great members. Today's giveaway, again, if you did not see it, was a Kylo Ren helmet from Art Sabers. The Art Sabers helmets are insane quality. We've had a bunch of winners already get some cool ones, like your pal Joe, I think. Is Joe in the chat? I don't think he is. But he won the Mandalorian helmet. I'm blanking on who else won the other helmets, but even still, this is the helmet today. I think it's only right because we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy, and she, of course, made the sequel trilogy. So if you are a member, you have instant access to this giveaway. If you are not a member, you have the next minute and a half-ish to become a member. The lowest membership is 99 cents. This helmet is like $170. So instant access to this and instant access to winning this helmet. How it works here, does Art Saber sponsor you? No. But I do have a sort of like a creator's code over there. So if you want to get something from Art Sabers with a percentage off, I believe I have a code. I could let you know what it is, but I forget it off the top of my head. So what we do here is we spin this wheel. I am quite happy to say that we are no longer at 86. We are at 90 members. Could we get to 100? Maybe. We'd need 10 more within the next minute and a half, but yeah. Are you going to give away the busted neon sign? Do you guys want the broken neon sign? That's actually not a bad idea. Who wants a broken neon sign that says live? Chat. Yeah. I wish I was a member that looks so cool. Well, Maggie, hopefully your dreams will come true one day. I don't know what to tell you. I could not gift a membership. Somebody else could give you a membership, but I don't think you can pick who you gift it to. That's the thing. YouTube, if you're watching, and we know that you are, let's fix that. Let's fix that. Auction it off. 10 more members and throw in the sign. I don't even know how to get the sign to you. I have to package it and send it off myself. Like when I give away these, it's great because I don't have to do any of the work. I just, do it through them. Okay, but let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. So we got currently 90 members. So if you see your name on this list of 90 people, see your name. If your name is another Mike who loves Star Wars. Oh, why? It was doing this last time. I don't know why it does this. It scrolls back to the top. If you see your name on here, if your name is, oh my God, that's annoying. If your name is Holly or WV grad, who's in the chat today. If you see your name like Star Wars Democracy, I lost it. Shit. This is annoying. Why is it doing this? JC? Dom, I saw? Darth Raccoonar? Okay, if you see your name on here, even though it's lagging like crazy. Jordan Rennie right there. Whoa. Star Wars Santa? Ron? If you see your name anywhere here, the 90 people there. Fearless? Tony? You have a 1 in 90 chance to win this awesome, cool Kylo Ren helmet. Okay. All right. Last chance. All right, we're spinning the wheel. We are spinning the wheel, chat. We are spinning the wheel. So 1 out of 90. Right? Yeah, okay. And whoever it lands on wins this nice Kylo Ren helmet. Are we good to go, chat? Are we ready to spin? Yes? No? Maybe so? We good? Okay, are we ready? Let's spin the wheel. Yes? Got it. Okay, spin that wheel. The suspense is killing me. Should I go away from the screen? Nah, we'll do it. Oh my God. Pretty much right down the middle. 43. Okay. 43. Let's see. How the hell are we going to do this if it's not going to keep going back to the top? Okay. Oh my goodness. 43. Why does it do that? That's really annoying, Chad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is Martha J. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Shit. Why is this so annoying, chat? Hang on, let me see if I refresh the page if it fixes itself. Let's see. No, it doesn't fix itself. That is quite annoying. Okay, I'm just going to do it on my end so you guys don't have to look at the stupid lag. Let's see if I can count it correctly. So 9 is Martha J. 10, 11, 12. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16 is Brandon Baker. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 is Ron. Oh my God, chat, this is annoying. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. James. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Lauren. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 is Lee. 41, 42. Oh. Come on. 41, 42, 43. Emi? Emi? E-M-E-E. E-M-E-E. I don't remember them ever joining as a member, but E-M-E-E, you have won the giveaway. Let me write this down. E-M-E-E. E-M-E-E Kylo Ren helmet. Okay, if you are in the chat, please let me know. I don't think you are because I haven't seen you here today. But I will remind you next stream if you're here. They must have changed their username because I've never seen that username before in my life. But some people do change their usernames. So congratulations to you. You have won it. And we'll go from there. I don't know. Who's that glove shitto? I know. It must be a different username. They just changed their name because I've never heard of that person before. But having said that, you have won, and we will, if you don't claim it, we will give it away again. So that's sort of how it works. Okay. Let's zoom back out there. All right. Let's end the stream where we should, okay? Let's end the stream with some Andor Season 2, shall we? So the trailer dropped on Monday. And of course, the hype level for Andor has gone through the roof. People getting really hyped up for the show itself, and currently, the trailer is still sitting at 34th on trending on YouTube after 5 days, which is insane. 34th on trending. It almost has 6 million views, which is incredible. So for Star Wars fans, that's all just great news. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see. However, there was a theory running around that in Andor Season 2, we were going to see B2, the droid, B2 get transferred into K2SO's body. Okay, but that never happened. Or at least that won't happen because of this clip that was just released. We have a new short from Lucasfilm themselves. Oh my God, Jordan with another $25. Holy crap, Jordan. Just says, yeah, Andor. You're insane. I appreciate you, but you are absolutely insane. Okay. Mike Fort, what is up? Haven't seen you in a while, Mike. How we doing? Okay. Are we going to see Sam's hand wave to us? She's not here right now, sadly. She is not here right now, but yes. Okay. Let's do this. So, there was a new video released for Andor Season 2. This is short on Star Wars official YouTube channel. 4.12 million subscribers. Can we get me there? Probably not, but a man could dream. Okay. Let's watch it.
If I could hang out with K2 or B2.
Sorry. So he's asked if he could hang out with K2 or B2, who would he choose? And his response gives away information that we almost shouldn't know. Let's see.
If I could hang out with K2 or B2, it's a difficult one. The problem of K2 is that he doesn't stop talking.
Are you talking about me?
He has no filters, and that can become an issue.
We need a map. Well, I'm sure there's one just lying about.
And B2 is the sweetest droid.
You could stay.
Don't tell K2, but I would choose B2.
I agree.
So, well, why is this important? What does this mean? Well, first of all, tell me in the chat, who would you prefer, K2 or B2? K2SO or B2? What do we think? EMO. Tell me in the chat. But this is very important because the theory that K2 or B2's sort of memory banks or whatever it is his personality is transferred into K2 is not right. It's not right. And it's what Cassian says here, or it's what Diego Luna, says here.
The problem of K2 is that he doesn't stop talking.
Are you talking about me?
He has no filters, and that can become an issue.
We need a map. Well, I'm sure there's one just lying about.
And B2 is the sweetest droid.
You could stay.
Don't tell K2, but I would choose B2.
He's talking about how these two droids have very different emotions and different personalities. Personalities is the word I was looking for. They have very different personalities. So they can't be the same programmed droid. So this theory of B2 getting transferred into K2 seems to be thrown out the window. Now the big issue becomes B2 is not in the trailer for Season 2. B2 is with Bix and Brazos at the end of season 1, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is B2 going to die in the second season? I know Mike's just predicting another death, but seriously though, what's going to happen to B2? He's already a sort of a breaking droid in the first season. His powers are always shutting down. He's stuttering because he's getting older and he's not really well kept, so to speak. I know. He's not in Rogue One, is he? No, he's not. Neither is Bix, neither is Luthen. I think they're going to die too. Oh my God. Jordan with another super chat says, R2. Everyone vote R2 wins. Well, R2's not in the conversation, Jordan. It's B2 or K2. But yes. K2 is 80% of the reason why you like Rogue One. Wow, that's crazy. Jar Jar is dumb. He's smart in his own ways. Maybe he gets turned into a Gonk droid. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I'm going to end this poll, actually. I want to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up. By the way, CEO of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. Wow. Bad took the win there pretty handsomely. He'll stay with Brazos. Interesting, because we don't see much Brazos either in the trailer, and we don't see him in Rogue One. So maybe he's going to die with him. It's possible. It's possible. Mike, your channel should be called Mike Guesses Characters Who Are Going to Get Manslaughtered and stuff. Mike's Death Predictions. We should host a segment called Mike's Death Predictions. Absolutely. All right, let's do this. Which droid do you prefer? K2, S.O, or B2, EMO? What do we think? Let's put this to bed. Cassian chooses B2. I probably would choose... interesting. I like B2 in season 1. But I feel like K2 in Rogue One is so iconic, you know? Yeah, no? I'm not voting? Oh, no. Name every character you think will die in Andor Season 2, Mike? Oh, that's just too... we'd be here for another hour. No, but the big ones, I think Luthen, for sure. Bix is an interesting one. I feel like she could survive and maybe just go into hiding. But Luthen has to die. Like, his whole thing is he's doing everything for the rebellion, so you'd have to die, you know? So Luthen, maybe Bix, maybe Brazos. All the people at the Gorman Massacre. They're going to be massacred. Dedra, maybe. Cyril, maybe. Like, all these characters that aren't in Rogue One need to go somewhere. You know? And that somewhere is death. Yeah. Exactly. So 68% of you guys right now say K2SO. Interesting. He's winning the poll pretty big. Did I miss the helmet giveaway? Yes, you did. 50 Thunder, and you did not win, sadly. Dedra's a goner. I think so, too. Yeah. Luthen can't die. He'll go into hiding. He's too much of a goat. But he's literally one of the leaders of the rebellion. Why would he go into hiding when we see the rebellion goes on? We see that Mon Mothma goes on. We see that Bail Organa goes on. Why would Luthen not be involved with that? There would have to be some crazy explanation for it. Yeah. B2 is one of the most caring droids in all of Star Wars. He was there for Marva when Cassian wasn't. That's true. That is true. I feel like Luthen's going to die, and his death is going to be something pretty epic. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are crazy. All right, let me end this poll, too. Was there anything else we wanted to get to today? We talked about the whole Kathleen Kennedy thing quite a bit. Revenge of the Sith is heading to theaters on April 25th for the 20th anniversary. Definitely going to watch that. It'll be my first time ever seeing it in theaters. Thankfully. Is there anything else, Chad? There's so many cool posters coming out from Star Wars Celebration. Oh, interesting. This is a pretty good catch. So this spot right here in the Andor trailer seems to have Mon Mothma with the shorter hair that we see in Rogue One. Interesting. Yeah, Mon Mothma has a lot longer hair, but this is Rogue One, and this is where we're ending up, so she has to cut her hair at some point. Good catch there. Good catch there. "54 days until Andor." Wow. We're getting close. We are getting close. I think that's it. I think we hit everything. Oh, except for the Shrek 5 trailer. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rick says, will we get a Clone Rebellion series trailer at Star Wars Celebration? Well, if that's in the works, I mean, there will be another animated show that will come out or be announced at least at Star Wars Celebration this year. But will it be a Clone Rebellion show? I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. Or even a Hera and Omega show, which we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Shrek 5. Yeah, Shrek 5 comes out in December of 2026. Yeah. Mike, you didn't see Revenge of the Sith when it came out in theaters? I thought you did. Well, I was 3 at the time. And that movie was rated PG-13, so I wasn't really sneaking in there as a 3-year-old. Yeah. Mike, how's Sam and Boo? Boo are great. Boo are great? Boo and Sam are great. Neither of which are here right now. I mean, Boo's probably upstairs, but she won't. She's probably asleep. Yeah. All right. But I do have to get on out of here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. How many likes do we have, chat? Am I going to be upset? I guess not. Actually, I'm kind of upset. 69. That's a good number. Actually, we just lost a like. What? 68. Okay. Let's get back to 69, chat. But until next time, smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. Watch it for a short in about an hour. And yeah. As always, live streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for the rest of your lives. May the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. Jordan Rennie with another $5 holla. Holy crap, Jordan. Says, smash another freaking like on the stream. Yeah, what the hell? I appreciate it, Jordan. I really, really do. Yeah, so this was quite the stream, if I do say so myself. I think the best bet here is Kevin Feige. But I would be fine with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, especially if they get a co-business president with them. It would be nice. But until we figure it out, which will probably be at Star Wars Celebration this year, until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.